Hi, I'm Jason Bunn-Parsons. I'm the director of the Autism Ambassadors Corps, and so this week, or this month, we're resuming our discussion on autistic ASPE social skills, anyways, my number one point of emphasis about autistics and ASPEs, which we were just discussing a little bit before we turn on the camera here, autistics and ASPEs are first and foremost human beings, okay? Autistics, ASPEs have all as all human beings do, have the same inherent needs, wants, and desires. We just have some unique challenges in getting them met, okay? Andrew?
I was like, I just didn't make sense when people think like people with disabilities are different from other people. I think we're just all together.
Yeah, and so I'm going to be spelling that out as we go along. But yes, that's a very important point, and that's the reason why I'm starting off with this as the number one thing is that we are human beings. Okay, just because society treats us okay, bad grammar, okay. Makes us feel a certain, the way that society treats us makes us feel a certain way about ourselves, doesn't make it true, okay? And there's a lot of autistics that they describe themselves as being born on the wrong planet. And I fully understand where they're coming from, okay? In fact, there is actually a website called wrongplanet.com, which is a number one autistic social media, social media place, for autistics to talk about. And I understand, that yes, they identify as that, but the thing is, it's also a self-defeating, attitude to have about yourself because you're already saying that you can't fit in, okay? And so in other words, we are not born on the wrong planet, and this is no different than somebody from a domestic violence background who stays with their abusive partner because, oh, you're too stupid to make it on your own, you're so ugly, nobody else will ever take you, and all these lies that they pound into their victim's head in order to get them to comply, to voluntarily stay in that prison. Okay, the first step to get them to escape from that prison is to dispute the lie, is to say, doesn't matter what this person is saying, this is a lie. And this is one of the things that autistics need to understand, is that just because your peers told you this, that doesn't make it true, okay? And we're going to be going into that more next month, about stages of social development, but that's the first thing. I understand why they have it. Myself, a few years before I got diagnosed, I described I used the analogy that, how you can't fit a round peg into a square hole? What do you do with triangles? Okay, that's how I felt about myself. Okay, and I felt that there was this asterisk after my name that no matter, oh, Jason, you're such a nice guy, but for some unexplainable reason, I won't go out on a date with you. Okay, not one date. Okay, and being a faithful volunteer in so many different church ministries, for some unexplainable reason, the leadership would not give me a chance to be a leader, and to run my own programs for some unexplainable reason. And so that was the perspective that I had about myself. The thing to overcome that is to go back to the thing that I am first and foremost a human being. Okay, and oops, there we go. Okay, and then third, this is completely contrary to the status quo view of autism Asperger's. The web pages of the major autism organizations that explain autism, okay, SARC, Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center. That is the number one place to go for autism support in the state of Arizona. if you follow the link there, it defines autism 100% by our deficits. They don't have one positive thing to say about us on this page where they are defining autism. Okay, Autism Society of America, again, that they're the original autism advocacy organization. Okay, and you go to their What is Autism page. And what you're going to see is a list of deficits. That's it. Nothing more. Okay? Autism Speaks. They are the #1 fundraiser in the autism community. And okay, what is autism? Go to their page. It's all deficits. They have nothing positive to say about us. The National Autism Association. Okay, that's along with the two previous national organizations work together to go on the JAN Jobs Accommodations Network, which is part of which is a project under the Department of Labor to do these sheets that talk about special accommodations, for people with different disabilities. Okay, and it's all about how we need second and third parties to solve all of our problems and clean up all of our messes. That's all they talk about. That is the official position of what autism is. Okay, and what it does is it cherry picks Dr. Connor's original 1943 paper focusing solely on our struggles while ignoring our strengths that he also observed. Okay, he observed that that these kids had incredible ability for memorization. Okay, and this is completely cherry picked out of the official definition of what autism is. All right, and it destroys the self-confidence and self-esteem, causing many to assume second and third parties will solve all our problems and clean up all our messes. I know this for a fact because I've been going to autism groups in which it's autistics only, and so the autistics get to express themselves, and they spend the entire time expressing their self-hatred, okay, how much they hate themselves, and or how much they hate society's perceptions of them. They whine and they cry, but they don't do anything. They hide in their closet meetings, but they won't do anything to confront the issues. Okay? Assume that they can never succeed in the various areas of our lives, including the development of social skills, are resigned to living a life deprived of what we truly want for ourselves. Okay? And I've been seeing this since I got diagnosed in 2009. And this is the reality, and people get upset when I point this out, but as far as my critics, I ask my critics one thing: have you actually gone to a place and let autistics speak for themselves? Let autistics tell you exactly what they think of themselves as a result of what you have taught them. Okay, have you done that? So don't criticize me about what I'm depicting here if you won't go and verify whether or not I'm telling the truth. Okay, because I assure you I am telling the truth. All right, is a blatantly violates what I learned during my CODA recovery. Okay, 20 years before I got diagnosed, I started going to a general purpose 12-step program for codependency. It's called New Wine. It was through a church, and I learned things about myself. I learned stress management, conflict resolution, and all these other things. And then 20 years later, I show up in an autism meeting, and they're all talking about how they can't do any of these things. And I'm like, oh, well, actually, yes, we can. We can learn, just as I learned. And they're looking at me like I'm a madman, because nobody in the autism community acknowledges that we can develop these skills. Okay, sometimes they jump on me. Oh, we never said that they can't, but have you ever said we can? That's the whole issue. The only way we can solve these problems is have somebody else solve them for us. So, anyways, okay. So the science of autistic social skills. Okay, the science. The information I got here, I got from Dr. Brian Woodruff. He's a neurologist at Mayo Clinic in Scottsdale, and he got involved with our community for personal reasons. And he freely shared all of his information. And so when I originally put this material together, he proved all of it to make sure that it was 100% consistent with consensus science, okay? There's no such thing as unanimous science, because no matter how much proof you present that something is true, somebody's going to say, oh no, everything you've ever been taught is wrong, believe me instead. So there's no such thing as unanimous science, but consensus science, yes, there is. And so the material that I'm going to be presenting is the consensus science that the people who have studied this have concluded is accurate. Okay, so the neurology of autism. Okay, definition of autism. Okay, and I wrote this, myself, and Dr. Woodruff, critiqued it, reworded a couple of things in order to make sure it was consistent with consensus science. Okay, autism is an atypical neurological connectivity paradox resulting in heightened activity in some areas of the brain and decreased activities in other areas compared to non-autistic individuals. Okay, atypical. 9 out of 10 individuals have a similar range of development as well as means of completing certain routine tasks, problem solving, socialization, etc. Okay, the 10th individual is atypical. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have a deficit. It could mean they could have a deficit, or it could mean that they're a prodigy. Got to get something out here, the whole question is, is it effective? Okay, my church, a few weeks ago started a book club in which we're studying this book, Being Lutheran, and I attend the meeting and I commentate on the meetings. Pastor Fegner, has it occurred to you that I haven't read a word of this book? No.
You did not order it?
No, I haven't read a word of this book. I don't have time. I've got all these projects that I'm doing. I don't have time, but the thing is, I come, and people who do have time, make comments, and so they lead off with specific topics, and then I just simply comment on those topics, based on my position on those topics. Okay, and it works for me. So I'm in a book club, where we study a book that I don't have time to read, but it works for me. So Andrew, you're right.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I do.
And you do that too, going back also to New Wine, it was a support group, and we had some members that were bookworms, and they'd read all these books, and we had other members that who were under counseling, some were both, and so as we would discuss the various issues that we're dealing with, and they would bring up the stuff that they had learned. I'm learning all this information from these books that I'm not reading by listening to the people who do have time to read. It's atypical, but it works for me. And so so when we're talking about atypical, I'm not just being politically correct. I'm saying, hey, if you're doing something completely different that works for you, then just do it. And if you see somebody doing something different that works for them, just leave them alone. Let them do it. So, anyways, I was wondering if you had picked that up, but you had never picked that up.
The book's looks like it's never been opened.
Yeah. Okay. So you did notice that it looks like it's never been opened, and you're right. I barely have opened it. And so I don't have time to read it. But I just go and I discuss the specific issues with the people that do have time to read it. It works for me. And so, anyways, okay, neurological connectivity. Okay. The simple explanation is that autism Asperger's is a neurological neurological at its roots and a neuroconnectivity issue. Okay. Now, I'll actually explain more, about why I'm actually having trouble here. But actually, this was actually brought up, I believe on Friday, is that I have this memorized, but I'm also reading it. And the part of my brain that memorizes stuff moves like this. Part of my brain that reads is like this. So my brain is going like this. And so that's one of the things. So people like PowerPoints, okay, but at the same time, yeah, PowerPoints are useful, but that they can also be, mess me up as a presenter if I get too reliant upon them. But anyways, bottom line, it's a neuroconnectivity issue, and this is where we can get into trigonometry. And I talked last month about how the way people teach about autism is like teaching trigonometry to kindergartners. It's ridiculous. Okay. I understand the professionals, they understand all these big words and all this fancy terminology, and they need to understand all that. Okay, great. But the average, parent of an autistic or somebody who just barely got diagnosed, for crying out loud, we don't need to have such explicit detail that it causes our brains to implode. Okay, and and with all the time I've spent studying this, I still have a hard time comprehending the white matter and the gray matter and this and that, and it's all very complicated. So bottom line, I'm just going to say what it is. It is a neuroconnectivity issue, and if you want to study more about that, there are plenty of people that are willing to do that. Just realize that it's complicated. The brain is complicated, and that's all there is to. Okay, paradox. And the paradoxes of autism can result in autistics being extremely gifted in some areas and extremely inept in others. The struggles autistics deal with are often aggravated by people who do not accept that autism is a paradox, focusing solely on one aspect of autism while refusing to acknowledge the paradoxical opposite. Okay, and as a higher functioning autistic, okay, like I said, before the group started, I was tested with 140 IQ in 3rd grade, and I graduated from high school with a 1.9 GPA, which is very bad. Okay, and at that time, in the 70s and 80s, they could not grasp the concept that somebody with 140 IQ could have a learning disability, but I did. Okay, and even as an adult, there are people that they've seen me at times where I can just be so brilliant, then when they see me struggle, they cannot believe that it's legitimate. Okay, and so this goes beyond, everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. It's a matter that my weaknesses, that the disparity between the two is so great that some people just cannot believe that my weaknesses can be legitimate. And we're not just talking about jerks who criticize everybody. I'm talking about people who are very merciful and very understanding, just not being able to grasp that concept in me. And on the flip side, we have the lower functioning autistics where a lot of their parents just are assuming, my child's never going to get married, and there was a video online where these parents were making these assumptions. My child's never going to get married, I'm going to be changing my child's diapers for the rest of his life, and all this other stuff. And one day, there was these people on Facebook that were bashing higher functioning autistic self-advocates like myself. They have no business speaking for our children. They don't know what it's like to have these bowel control issues. And I typed in response, actually, yes, I do, because bowel control is the single most humiliating issue I dealt with growing up in the 70s and 80s. Okay, this idea that the spectrum, and I actually had an exchange of perceptions with a lady that last month that believes that the spectrum model does work, but then again she's a trained professional, so she understands the proper way. She understands that just because the autistic is nonverbal, that doesn't mean that they can't excel in other areas. The problem is not all the parents can't go to 2 to 6 years of schooling in order to gain this expertise to understand this. And so So I am, very much, a fan of changing it from the autism spectrum to autism paradox because it's more accurate and it's less likely to be misused to not misuse the term spectrum. Okay. Was some, okay. That's what I was going to say. Okay.
It's a label that can hinder you and
Yeah.
limit you, and that's the problem, I think.
Mhm.
When I was in high school or whenever, I never wanted to be classified as anything, just so I wouldn't be that boss for the rest of my life. And it's been to my detriment a little, but I'm happy that I was pushed into different challenges because
back when my mom, who's a now retired LPN, presented to me, that her belief that I might be autistic, I absolutely wanted nothing to do with it because it's not so much I had official diagnosis, I just had so many judgments about me over the years that I just got sick and tired of it. So I completely understand where you're coming from, Andrew.
For me too, I don't like people knowing about it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like, I want to keep it a secret, and like, kind of like, is that?
Yeah.
But they've been judgmental.
That's the catch-22, okay? You want to keep it a secret, but can you? Because, they're noticing that there's something different about you. And they're going to make the judgments about, what a person who behaves like this, what issues that they have. And so basically my position is that we need to take the initiative in explaining exactly what autism is and is not, okay? And that requires gaining enough of a fundamental understanding of not only what autism is, but also how it affects you personally, okay?
And my pastor too, I told him, and he's like, you're using it as an excuse, and you need to get over it. Yeah.
Jimmy said that?
That's normal for everybody to say that. That's
As a
not
Christian
right word.
community, I wish you would come and talk to our church.
Yeah.
It's unfreaking believable.
Yeah, and
Been down the road already. I used
Yeah.
to belong to Stone Point and 43rd Avenue. I know all about
Jimmy
that.
said that?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
they think it's a crutch.
I was
They also say that. Everybody.
Oh, I know.
Pastor,
This has been
everybody
for
will say it.
years that we've been through
He
this.
just needs to grasp it, learn what to learn by it, go to programs like Jason, and know how to advance.
actually, what he needs is for Andrew to be able to advocate for himself, okay, explain the basic, underlying issues and how those issues manifest in you, okay? That is what you need to learn, and it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, okay? And one of the things my mom and I talked about coming over here, she had to leave for the meeting, but anyways, is starting up a group, which actually I tried to start up in 2010, which is modeled after the New Wine / AA type format. No, we are not doing the 12 steps, okay? I am saying we are borrowing specific elements of the meeting format, not the 12 steps, okay? Anyways, people can't grasp that concept. I'm only borrowing certain elements, okay? The elements that we're borrowing is the concept of, okay, we're going to learn by sharing about what's happening to us right now, what's happened to us over the past week, okay? This would be a weekly meeting, okay? And figuring out, okay, how do we, deal with this situation, and over time, you'll get the hang of it. This is how I learned how to deal with my codependency, learned stress management, conflict resolution. Okay, this is how I learned, is by being in this group of people who had these same issues. Nobody was superior to anybody else. Okay, and I truly believe that yes, there is definitely benefit in this type of a meeting format, or I wouldn't be doing it. Okay, but there's also things that you can only learn if you're focusing specifically on your situation, not just simply talking about hypotheticals, but talking about your actual situation and what you need to do with your actual situation. Okay, so I definitely want to talk about starting up a meeting of that type. At the end of the meeting. So anyways, so going on to the neurology of autism. Okay, where's my laser? No, I need one my laser pointer. Okay, well fine, I'll just use my finger. Okay. Okay, this up here, the frontal lobe area here, personality, emotions, problem solving, reasoning. Okay, this all comes under the general category of executive functioning. Okay, and we are going to spend a lot of time talking about that because this is where this is the common denomination, the common denominator that all autistics have pertaining to their struggles. That it starts in the frontal lobe, and we'll address it point by point from there. Okay, but this is the different sections of the brain and what they do. Okay, the issues, sensory processing issues, hypersensitivity to stress and emotions, stimming, seizures, and we'll be talking about these issues in greater detail. I'm just basically listing off these different things that can result in our, from our atypical neurology. ADD, ADHD, half of the autistics that I met have a prior ADD, ADHD diagnosis. Tourette syndrome, delayed and impaired language development, delayed and or impaired social development. Impaired executive function, okay, again, that's this area here. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about that. Impaired motor skills, okay. Several years ago, I had this neighbor lady, an elderly neighbor lady, who had some cabinets that needed to be put together, and so I had a friend who also was autistic, who was nearby, who helped me go and put it together. So we got everything, put together, and so we put it on the back board, and so he took one row of screws, I took the other row. By the time I was finishing putting in my first screw, he was starting his third. Okay, there is a side-by-side comparison of just how pathetic my motor skills are. Okay, how slow I am. Now, not every autistic, obviously not every autistic has it, because this other autistic was burying me in this very simple exercise. But nevertheless, this is one of the things that is always manifested in me, going all the way back to third grade. When we were doing the times tables, that's back when you actually had to write it out instead of just multiple choice. These were time tests, and I would only get through about half the test. What I did was almost 100% accurate, but I was just too slow to do the entire thing. 7th grade social studies class, okay? Back when we had something called chalkboard. How many remember what a chalkboard is? So, yes, okay, so the teacher had 2 chalkboards, and so he'd write out stuff on the first chalkboard, commentate on it, and then he'd write out stuff on the second chalkboard, commentate on it, and then he comes back to the first chalkboard. Okay, are you ready for me to erase that? No. Every time. And finally, there was this one day when I did that, and I'm serious, all my classmates in sync went, that's the last time I ever tried to take notes. Because I knew I just couldn't keep up.
Too challenging.
Yeah. 8th grade typing class.
Didn't do it.
Slow step.
I didn't take notes.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to memorize it.
Yeah, well, when I went to Phoenix Job Corps,
but I tried to memorize it.
yeah, when I went to Phoenix Job Corps afterwards to be a carpenter, okay, that they had this nailing booth, so we could practice, nailing as fast as we could. Okay, 16 penny nail is about 3.5 inches long, and professional standards is that you should be able to sink, after setting the nail, you should be able to sink it in 4 to 6 strikes, okay? My instructor stood behind me and literally counted out 24 strikes for me to sink that nail. Okay, and why? Because I was going tap, tap, tap. Why? Because if I took a full swing, okay, I was going to hit the nail awkward, it's going to bend into a pretzel flying up somewhere. Okay, because hand-eye coordination, motor, and so yeah, so for me, this is a major issue for me. Impaired hand-eye coordination, okay? Hypersensitivity medications. Temple Grandin has been saying this for years, and nobody will do the research to verify, whether or not, as of 2012, nobody, because I asked Temple Grandin, who's very connected with the research community, point blank, Yeah, has anybody actually done the research, to figure out one way or another if this is true? And as of March 2012, the answer is no. So, even though she's been saying it for years, nobody will do the research. So, okay, brain plasticity. Okay, every brain, every life form on Earth is constantly changing, enabling it to adapt in both positive and negative ways. This provides us with a scientific basis to believe that some areas which autistics aspie struggle with may self-correct or be modifiable. Okay, this is not to say we will ever outgrow autism Asperger's, but that just because we struggle with something 10 to 20 years ago, we should not assume that we will always struggle with that today, and especially when you're talking about social skills. Okay, and so you didn't have the neurological capacity to socialize in a typical manner when you're 10 years old. Okay, well, you're 30 now. You are a completely different neurological person today than you were 30 years ago. Okay, I am now, or 20 years ago. I'm now 48. Okay, at that point, things start going the other way. Nevertheless, this process will eventually start working in reverse in all human beings once we reach the age in which all parts of our minds and bodies begin to deteriorate. And everybody that's gone over 40 knows what I'm talking about. Pastor Fechner's back there smiling. Yeah, he went over 40 a few years before I did. Anyway.
I went over 50 quite a few years ago.
So, anyway, and you can testify, for yourself, what you're able to do in your 20s and 30s that you just can't do anymore. That you haven't been able to do for a while, and so can I. That this is a natural progression of aging. And nevertheless, there hasn't been a study done to see if autistics age any differently until recently. I'm actually part of a study being done through Barrow's Neurological Institute.
That's Phoenix, right?
Yeah, that's...
I saw you on YouTube on it. Every 2 years I go get a fMRI, which is an extra fancy MRI. I'm not going to try to explain the difference between the two, but anyways, so that they scan my brain every other year in order to see if there are changes in my brain's neurology, and chart this and to see if there's any differences between how we develop. Okay, do we go downhill faster or slower? Okay, or are we just different? Okay. What was the answer to that?
It's still ongoing. Okay, because
your right side's bigger than your left side?
No.
Like you'll see the lines and
no. Well, basically, I've only had my brain scanned twice. Okay, the initial scan, okay, for the baseline, and then I had my last brain scan last summer, and so next summer I'll have my third brain scan. So it's all preliminary. It's way too soon for anybody to be drawing any conclusions. It'll probably, well, I'm not qualified to say this, but I wouldn't be surprised if it takes at least 10 to 20 years of comparing these brain scans of several different individuals before they can conclusively, say, whether or not, our neurology is any different, we age any different from the neurotypical. It's, go ahead.
May I suggest people stand up? These are the most uncomfortable chairs.
Oh, I stand up.
And anybody else want a water?
I do.
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
Two here.
If you don't mind.
So,
thank you.
Or what are those cheap things?
Gatorades, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a Gatorade if you have one.
Water.
Gatorade?
Oh, yeah, lots of Gatorade in there.
Yeah.
Water.
I'll do a
Water
Gatorade if you
here.
don't mind.
Here, we'll help you.
Okay.
Sorry, we don't. I was curious about if you're scanning your brain. Is it at 48 years old?
What kind do you
You're at a good plateau, or are you dropping a little bit?
A
again, that it's too soon for anybody to make any definitive conclusions, because it's not just my brain, you know, it's all these other people's brains, because maybe I'm an abnormality, okay, maybe 10 other autistics are going to develop completely different, okay, and so yeah, it's a long ways away from drawing any conclusions as to whether or not our neurology is developing any difference than a neurotypical. So, anyways, natural countermeasures. Okay, now this is something that I presented to Dr. Woodruff, this little theory of mine, back in 2014, and he said that it's plausible. Okay, so it's not so I can't say no that this is the consensus opinion of anybody. This is my staunch conviction that Dr. Woodruff says is plausible. Okay, and it's a well-known fact that someone who loses their sight will develop an increased sense of hearing.
Yep.
This concept is not limited to the blind, but is also a well-known factor in so many other physical disabilities that the healthy part or parts of a body will compensate for an unhealthy or injured part or parts. Okay? Not only do I believe that this gives us a basis to consider the possibility that the same principle may be at play for those with developmental disabilities, but I also believe that I can prove specific examples of this being a factor in the day-to-day lives of autistics and Aspies. Okay, and I will be spelling this out. Okay, so we come to impaired executive functioning. Okay, what is executive functioning? Okay, Sue Gallbach, when I got diagnosed, she was the co-organizer of the autism support group, adult autistic Aspie support group that I went to. She's a now retired occupational therapist, and the co-organizer, Tara Marshall, is a speech-language pathology assistant, both of whom are autistic as well, and they both understand autism from both a personal and professional point of view. Okay, and so I asked Sue, straight up, okay, give me a one-sentence definition of what executive functioning is. Okay, the brain's ability to control itself and the environment so as to accomplish its goals. Some aspects of executive functioning that autistics are notorious for struggling with: the ability to remember information long enough to do something with it, the ability to follow step-by-step procedures to plan and organize and carry out complex instructions. Okay? The ability to organize one's materials and environment in order to find the tools/information needed to perform a task. Okay, the ability to stop one's focus and to shift to something else as required to complete a task. The ability to control one's emotions in order to adapt to a task that is not progressing as expected. Okay, and so switching over to okay, where did my
Laser?
my laser thing go?
You couldn't find it here.
Is it that?
No,
Find it used.
no, my laser.
You never took it out. You couldn't
Didn't
find
have
it.
it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm gonna have to. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this the long way then.
Yeah,
Okay. This is backward. Okay. I have to hit escape and switch over to. All right.
Wow.
I can't even read that, I'm so old.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Where's your
Okay.
readers? You got your readers?
Now can you read it? Okay. Okay. So this here is the developmental milestones chart. Stretching from 1 month, milestones that you'll reach from 1 month up to 12 plus years old. Okay, and when I discovered this, I noticed that there was a category missing, and that category was executive functioning. Okay, why isn't executive functioning on this list? So I asked Sue about it, and she explained that executive functioning is an underlying issue to, to complete these tasks. Okay, so okay, where's speech? Oh, okay, language. Okay, okay, okay. They start doing 2-word sentences at whatever to do sentence structure. Okay. My mom and I had lunch before coming here. Okay. The ability to put every single one of those words in their proper order in order to say a complete and cohesive sentence is a function of executive functioning. Okay, so if somebody has a speech problem, that the problem may not necessarily be in the speech area of their brain, could actually be the executive functioning, or it could be a combination of both. The brain is very complicated, and so anyway, I asked Sue, okay, at what age can you actually measure somebody's executive functioning? And she said, by the age of 6, okay, that they're able to do tests to determine somebody's executive functioning. So we come over here to social skills, and we look at how many milestones there are. There are 21 milestones in social. No, I'm sorry, it's the other way around. There's 21 milestones in language and 24 milestones in social skills before the child is old enough to have their executive functioning tested. And so when you look at, okay, how is it that autism is defined by its difficulty in social skills? It's because we're missing all these milestones. For all these years, for 5 years, so we're missing these milestones, so it's being noticed, okay? And in language, trying to get a child ready to go to school, if their social skills and or language is impaired, it's a major problem going into school. And so that's the reason why so much attention is paid to these issues. And people don't realize, and Sue agreed with me, that people don't give executive functioning its just due as far as how big of an impact it has on us. Okay, and so we have kids go all the way through school who get diagnosed with autism because their social and language development isn't that far off, but then they get into the real world and their executive functioning comes to bite them, okay? Yeah, because in the classroom, the teacher is basically involved in the class's executive function, okay? Organizing and structuring the class, okay? They have to do that. Right now, I'm this class's chief executive functioning because I need to provide the structure so that way we can all learn and contribute. I have a flexible structure which works for a group this small. If we had 100 people, there's no way we could have this kind of dialogue. I'd put us all in nice straight rows and ask you to save your questions and comments till after the presentation is over. Okay? And so I'm pointing this out because I don't want to come across as criticizing the teachers. It is what it is. Okay, the teachers have to provide the structure, which means that they are not going to be aware of that child's inability to structure themselves. Okay, and so that's how even today we continue to have people come through all the way through school and into their adult years without an autism diagnosis because the social skills is such a dominant issue when talking about autism. Okay, so current slide. Okay, so now memory's role in executive functioning. Okay, the subject of memory is far more complex than the commonly used terms of long-term and short-term memories. There are probably at least a dozen different types of memories because Dr. Woodruff, when I was putting this material together, I asked him about all the different types of memories, and so he wrote them all out, and I couldn't make sense of it. So he had to help me out here as far as doing this little section here, so that way, anyways, several types of memories. Of these memories tie directly into the subject of executive functioning. Understanding the role that memory plays in our day-to-day lives can help autistic Aspies develop countermeasures into our overall self-management strategy that we may need to overcome deficits in executive function. This may also enable some autistic Aspies to eventually be weaned off of some of their needs for special accommodations. Okay, first is working intermediate or very short-term memory. Okay, these are synonymous terms for a type of memory that is actually a core aspect of executive functioning, because this is about organizing you. Okay, where did I set my keys down? That's self-organization. That's frontal lobe. Okay, and so my executive functioning difficulties. Okay. Keeping track of small items that I need to use on a regular basis, especially my cell phone, keys, wallets, okay? Even larger items such as my backpack, tablet, as well as other items needed for church meetings and presentations often get buried in the clutter around my apartment. If you look at last month's video, you'll notice that camera was way far away because I forgot my tripod. Okay, so what I had to do is put a chair on top of the table back there and stack a bunch of Bibles on top of the chair in order to get the camera up to the correct level. Yeah, you know. Yeah, on Thursday, we were talking, about, my ability for memorization. Your wife's like, could you plug your brain into me to, help my memory? And if I actually, get specific with your wife, what issues are you actually, having memories? It's actually these. Okay, that anything, it's going to be the executive functioning, organization, remembering where she said stuff, and remembering that she needs to do a certain task at a certain time. I bet that's what, and if that's what she's struggling with, I can't help her. My brain is maybe worse than hers from birth. Okay, and so, anyways.
But Jason, just so you know, I am just the opposite. Like, I lay out my clothes, I know where my wallet, my keys, my cell phone is, I know everything that's in there. I'm like so particular. Because
what you've done is you've developed a set routine, and we'll actually get into that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you've developed a set routine. Okay, and what would happen if something messes up that routine?
I get flustered. I get frustrated.
Right. Okay. So that's the whole thing. Yeah. So
like, what the hell is it?
Yeah. So you do have the issue, but you also have the discipline to nullify the issue to as much as you humanly possibly can.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's very important to recognize, is that a lot of times we're our own worst enemies. That a little self-discipline, is all we need. To deal with a lot of these issues. And so, and I speak as one of those who does not have that self-discipline, which is demonstrated on a regular basis. So I commend you for developing the self-discipline to do that.
I think it might help people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does help people, and it's absolutely recommended.
I'm exactly the same way too.
Mm-hmm.
You like your stuff right where it is.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm very neat and organized and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
OCD doesn't exist. There is no such thing as they think
I know,
that
yeah,
word is just a very stereotype.
Well,
being organized or
OCD does exist, but is way overused.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think the psychologists have OCD when it comes to sticking OCD on everybody. Okay,
Label.
they're the ones with OCD, but
Never mind.
well, no, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say OCD is, I think people use these routines to compensate for negative emotions.
Yeah.
So that.
It can become a liability.
Yeah.
If you get so obsessed with the protocol that it becomes debilitating, that you can't function, that you can't even go to work because you're so obsessed with getting your clothes perfectly aligned, that having everything in order is more important than going to work. Okay, that is OCD.
That's bad.
That is bad, okay? And there are people that, that are that bad, okay? And so, but it sounds like, from what you're describing, you got the right balance, okay?
Works for me every day.
Yeah, and it allows you to be functional in an area that I'm extremely dysfunctional in, and I commend you for that. Okay, dealing with setbacks that I just don't have time for. I already have 3 things on my plate. Okay, I don't need this, to be called by this company, saying that there's something that they didn't get my payment when I know it's set up for automatic bill pay. Okay, it's your problem. Okay, so yeah, stuff like that. And so everybody has an issue with it. The question is, how severe is my reaction? How often is it a debilitating problem? And how significant are the setbacks that I'm reacting to? Because people do overreact. That think that there's something that's really a small problem. Making mountains out of molehills. Okay, and so this is something that you need to assess. And as far as this specific issue, in me, I do not believe that this is actually connected to my autism per se, because I don't recall actually having this severe problems until my mid-30s. I think for me that this is actually how my aging is affecting me. Okay, that I can know that I have a much harder time dealing with these surprises than I did when I was younger.
Well, my setbacks, if I do have a setback, it's very severe. Like, I would go into like a deep depression, or I wouldn't get out of bed, or if something doesn't work out, or it's I overtake it. How would it be a solution to that?
Well, okay, well, there is no quickie solution that I could focus
cover.
No, well, okay. Well, remember I talked earlier about having a special group in which we're talking about our specific needs, because we're talking about you specifically, okay? So we need to understand, who are you, okay? What are these situations? And what solutions can you implement? Because solutions that that you can implement may not work for me. Okay, so that's why we need to take the time to talk about who you are.
You'll have a group.
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't matter about Anthony or David. It matters about you. We need to find your solution. Okay, and that's why the New Line / AA model, where you're just talking about what happened in this last week. Okay, that I staunchly believe is the solution to developing these skills. It's how I developed stress management, conflict resolution. This is how I developed those skills.
Yeah.
I didn't develop them overnight. I didn't have some guru give me some sage piece of advice to change my life from that point on. It doesn't work like that. Okay, and it may take trying different methodologies, but one thing, off the top of my head, stress management, is definitely, is going to be the focal point. Okay, what can you do to manage your stress? And that's going to vary from person to person, and that in and of itself is a complete topic. Stress management, conflict resolution. That is a completely separate topic to do for an entire hour and a half session. Okay, there is a lot that you can do for that. So but in the meantime, we can exchange contact information, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it outside of class, in order so I can understand who you are and what your situation is and what you're able to do to help your situation. Okay?
Answer my question.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Thank you.
so. Anyways, all right. So, okay, dealing with out of control changes. Okay. We talk so much about how people have problems with changes. Okay, if I was to step down as this group leader and appoint somebody else, I guarantee that person would make changes, and they would love those changes because they would be changing them to their liking, okay? They would have control of those changes. Nobody has a problem with changes that they're in control of and that are to their liking. The problem is when these changes are out of control, okay? Especially when I'm being forced to use newer technology that no one will take the time to explain to me via verbal dialogue. I have fits with technology. Technology is like crack to me. I am so dependent upon them, and they just cause me so much havoc. You know,
intuition for it. I have like an intuition for how to deal with everything. You know.
Yeah.
And then you go online when you have a specific problem.
Yeah. So
Just Google it.
and so for me specifically, and that's one thing that I had to learn to do. When I came out of high school in 1988, there was no, there was internet, but only rich people had the internet. Okay, there was no online banking. Okay, in the early 90s, they started with bank by phone, which did help. But as far as all these new online technologies and the security dangers that go along with them, I was very reluctant to do online banking because I'm scared of those hackers. But nevertheless, since I've gone to online banking, it's really helped me manage my money. But the whole thing is I'm not being given a choice if I want to use this new technology because getting rid of human beings and replacing them with technology saves money. And so that's what causes me the aggravation, is that they don't want to give me a human being to explain the technology.
See, like as I'm applying for jobs, the only means is to do it online.
Right.
And it's really hard because I know even with that experience, I could probably give somebody a positive impression of me, and give me a chance. So it's just really hard to compensate for that,
Yeah.
I come close,
So
it's just like, my mom gives me all this advice, go out and dress up and talk to people. And,
that's how we did it in our day. Okay, I'm probably about the same age as your mom.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you did. You dressed up, nice dress shoes, dress slacks, and dress shirts, and you go around. You ask for an application. You fill out the application, and you hand it in. You hope you get called back.
Yeah.
And you put in 20 applications, and you hope that one person calls you back. That's how we did it in your mom's day, and so that's what she's telling you to do. And
nowadays it's like it's very, there's no humanity at all.
Internet.
So
That's the better because then you have like more time.
that's the flip side. Is by doing that, you can put in more applications.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a flip side to it, but it is frustrating.
Yeah.
When you're not given a choice, you have to use this technology, or that's it. That's what frustrates me because, like I say, half of all autistics are computer geniuses. I'm part of the other half. Okay, and so. So I love to play with computers, but I don't love them when they start, doing stupid things that they're not supposed to do. They're just supposed to work. My first computer, Commodore 64, you turned it on and it worked. Period.
With TM99.
So anyways, okay, dealing with a supervisor that is going to do things the way they want no matter what, okay? And a lot of it comes down to, okay, we have trouble getting the hang of how to do something, and some two-bit tyrant then comes in and says, you're to stop doing it that way because I say so. They give no logic to why you should be doing it, and a lot of times logic says that it is a bad idea. They don't care. You're going to do it this way, period. And everybody has issues with people like that, but I definitely, I definitely have more issues, talking about these kind of bosses to my new wine group, and that they're all able to take it and stride a lot easier than I can. So, anyways, planning out how I will complete multiple tasks at one time. And this is something that I'm dealing with right now because along with doing this, Pastor Fechner has given the green light for me to start an English class here, like I did over at Covenant Grace. And this involves, you know, and there's other stuff I have to deal with at the same time. And what happens with me, you know, is that I spend all this time thinking about all the stuff that I'm doing, okay, and the solution for me, you know, is to have an actual partner, because this project's too big for one person, period. Okay, and having a partner that understands, okay, I just need you for specific things. Okay, I don't need you to push me aside and just do it for me. I don't need, you know, you to act as a second or third party that's going to solve all my problems and clean up my messes. I need somebody that understands, okay, there's these specific areas that I am really bad at. You take care of those areas, and you will unleash me and my gifts to their fullest. Okay, and so this is something, that I am, that is a challenge that I am trying to, to deal with, and so, because normally. I'm the right-hand man of whoever the leader is. That's the success that I've always had, is that I'm the right-hand man, okay? For me to succeed here, I need to invert my formula for success, okay? And trying to get somebody to buy into that formula. Okay, the ability to resume a task that had to be paused, especially if it's a multi-days, that takes multiple days to complete. Okay, and obviously, the English class, it's taking.
I think a lot of these things, though, I don't know that it's necessarily a sign or a problem because you're autistic. I think it's that
No.
a lot of this executive function, everybody's got this.
Yeah.
Well, yes, to a various extent, and also, the aging process. This is also a sign of aging. This is one of the reasons why, the study that I told you I'm part of, okay, Dr. Baxter is heading it up, is having some issues with the data because these people that are coming that they've been told that they're autistic, some of them have even been diagnosed with autism, but what they actually have is a specific type of dementia that mimics certain aspects of autism, especially in executive functioning. Okay, and so it all comes down to how severe is it compared to other people? Okay, can the average person basically take it in stride? Where the autistic is just going to absolutely struggle at. That's what it comes down to, and also whether or not that there's been this pattern throughout the course of their entire life, or if it's something that's a recent development since they turned old, like me.
Something I always struggle with. Like, I'm really into writing,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never been able to get a project done because it takes a lot of
Right.
time. And it's just, I've always been one of those people that I have to just push completely into something
Mm-hmm.
and get it done right then and there.
Right.
Otherwise, it doesn't
Yeah.
get done. And it's not a good way to live,
Yeah.
So.
Staying focused on a main objective when smaller matters appears unexpectedly or without warning, and I bet you also experience that. You start on a writing,
Yeah.
and then something pops up that sidetracks your brain over to here.
Yeah.
And you start another project. You put the main project on the back burner for a minute,
Yeah.
and you go to this quickie side project, which all of a sudden becomes the new main project.
Right.
Yeah,
That's kind of how it is. So.
yeah,
I identify with all of them.
yeah. So.
I keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
Okay, now, types of long-term memory. Okay, declarative memory. The types of long-term memory that are tied to the facts and experiences that we have learned over the course of our lives. The two categories of declarative memory are episodic memory, past experiences and events of an individual's life, and semantic memory. Learned facts or knowledge, the sky is blue, though the water is made of hydrogen and oxygen atoms. Obviously, somebody with a high college degree came up with these examples because only Dr. Woodruff would come up with these examples. But anyways, and my ability for memorizing scripture, that's semantic memory. Okay, and so procedural non-declarative / muscle memory. Okay, another type of long-term memory is the result of repeated activities and or behaviors that create pathways in the brain, eventually allowing the activity to be done without conscious thoughts, conscious attention to every step or detail, such as tying your shoe. Okay, and so you're literally forming little pathways in your brain that connects all the dots that are required to execute the tying of shoes. Okay, and so that's called procedural memory. People call it muscle memory, but your muscles do not have memories. Okay, it's your brain just so automatic, doing that, so that having these pathways created in the brain that that just allows you to do that. Okay, the development of these routines, which are the product of procedural memory, serve as a countermeasure to the executive functioning struggles that are tied to our deficiencies in working memory, such as you being very organized and setting everything up, perfectly, in order that you can find them. Okay, that is procedural memory. Okay.
Daily routine. That's my.
I swear, my finger between them.
What was that?
I have a daily routine. I have to do certain things. Certain times.
Procedural memory.
So.
Yeah, you created little pathways in your brain that allows you to implement those.
Yeah.
Without even thinking about it. That's procedural memory. Okay. Turning our superior long-term memories into social success. Okay. Autistics, Aspies in general, excel when they are in environments that, one, have them performing regular routines that require as little thought as riding a bike. Okay. Again, we've hashed that out pretty well.
Yep.
Values their abilities to absorb facts and relate to specialty subjects such as the Bible study. Okay, I'm with a group of people that actually know that likes the Bible, likes to talk about the Bible, and so if I go to a office Christmas social, where people are there, bragging about, oh yeah, I made $50,000 bonus this year, and everybody trying to talk about how they're the best employee in the company, actually in the Temple Grandin movie, she went to one of these Christmas socials with her mom, and she just started talking about some sciencey thing. I forget what it was, and this guy just looked at her like,
what the hell?
yeah, and just walked away, because
Understand it.
yeah,
It's a good movie. I tell people to watch that.
yeah, it is a great movie. I loved it, so instead of us going places that that really we have no business going to, because we have no genuine interest in those people and they have no genuine interest in us. So why are we going?
Because our society tells us to do it.
So what?
I know. Well, being young,
You know,
you don't
well,
know that. When you get older,
yeah.
you realize that.
And
So that's what
so
we need to share with the young people.
Yeah.
Who cares what they think about your twitches or whatever?
Yeah.
That's between you and you. Not-
and so
They should make you feel bad. That's
So you're used to going to a church though, and they don't get it,
and so yesterday I had a special meeting with Pastor Beckner about becoming an official member of this church, and I was talking to him about my experiences in other churches and why I like this church so much, and I told him specifically because of Sunday school and Thursday morning Bible study and now the Wednesday night book study, because those are the perfect environments for me. On the other hand, Sunday morning worship, not so much, but I'll just go with the flow during Sunday morning worship, because it's perfect for those people, for other people. So I go with the flow with Sunday morning worship, and then I just unleash myself in Sunday school and Thursday morning Bible study and the Wednesday night book study.
That you don't read.
That I don't read. Anyway, so that's the whole thing is finding that environment that suits you to a T, and so that's I briefly made mention about this English class that I've been given the green light to start, and I'm going to be doing a adult English class symposium where I am just going to absolutely unleash all my knowledge that I've acquired over the years. Okay, looking at the subject of English classes from every single variable anybody can ever imagine. Okay, some students can go to committed programs. Others need to go to flexible. Okay, there are different types of curriculums. There's the computer curriculums. There's what I refer to as the shortcut curriculums, and then there's what I refer to as the first language curriculum, which is basically how we were taught in school. Instead of taking shortcuts, anyways. And then you go on to the different attributes that the difference, they're present in different classes. From the teaching, to the types of teachers, to the financial resources, where it's accessibility for those who don't have their own transportation, and then you talk about the specific venues, a community college versus a church versus a community center versus starting one up at in the residential inside an apartment complex, and there's all these variables, okay, in which I will just be able to unleash myself and present all this information. This is what I was made to do. Okay, so why go to some place where they're going to think I'm weird, where I can go someplace where they will be appreciative of me, And I really believe, when talking about, finding places where autistics fit in socially, volunteerism is such a great place because you're dealing with people who are grateful that you're willing to help them. Okay, and that's the thing with the refugees. Okay, they didn't know that I was weird. Okay, all that they knew is that I was helping them. Eventually, they figured out that there was something different about Jason because they met all these other Americans, and then there's Jason. But they didn't care because Jason had helped them out so much that they didn't care that there was something different about Jason. Okay, and so I firmly believe that that volunteerism is a great way to have a positive social experience because you're dealing with people who are just grateful that you're willing to help them, and they're not going to care if you're a little weird. Just help people. So, anyways, the need to rethink what it means to be supportive of autistics and Aspies. Okay, autism and Asperger's community in general equates supports with the mandatory need for second and third party interventions as well as special accommodations. That is not to say that many of us do not need such support. The problem is when it is the only options presented when discussing what we need to overcome. Again, my brain's getting out of sync trying to read too much. But anyways, but basically, we think that the second and third party interventions are our only hope. Okay, and like we were discussing before the class, okay, what happens when the budget gets cut? Okay, those programs that you've been told you have are your only hope now go away. Then what are you going to do? Curl up in a ball and feel sorry for yourself? That is the problem. With the status quo approach of assuming that second and third parties have to solve all of our problems instead of being like the refugees. Yeah, they had quite a few issues themselves, and so anyways, that they have these issues themselves, and so and he's going to keep calling me back, so I'm going to eventually have to pause this and tell. It's my right for after the meeting. So anyways, Yeah, I told them that the meeting doesn't end till 3, but anyways, the refugees, okay, that they have, have to overcome, the language barriers, cultural barriers, and yes, that they accept some help from these government organizations, but the problem is, that they can't, that they don't cover all the needs, and so they band together to solve their own problems. And that's what we need to do. We need to realize that we need to solve our own problems instead of depending upon somebody else. And being supportive of us doesn't necessarily mean being supportive of the big organizations, because a lot of these big organizations are busy doing what they want to do, and when the autistic community comes to them with stuff that we want to do, they're not interested. Okay, so there's the whole thing is that, anyways, yeah. However, I learned to persevere through many of my struggles 20 years prior to me receiving my diagnosis with the support of caring friends and mentors who, one, accepted me unconditionally, and when I brought this up to these other autistics at another support group, and they were absolutely shocked to hear me say that there are people that non-autistics that accepted me unconditionally. They cannot believe it. Okay. 2, gave me wise advice and suggestions, taught me about healthy risk-taking. No matter what you do, especially when it involves developing relationships, hey, you could wind up, crossing paths with that bad friend that's going to hurt you in the end. Okay, so there is risk-taking, but as far as healthy risk, that's a lengthier subject for future meeting. Encourage me to keep trying and to defy my past by giving myself another chance. Okay, and again, me being diagnosed at the age of 40. I spent 40 years failing, okay? And after I got my diagnosis, that's one of the things that I had to do. I had to tell myself that it doesn't matter what happened during the first 40 years of my life because I didn't understand. And when all the self-doubt about, oh no, history is repeating itself, I have to defy it. I have to say, no, I am not going to cave into this. I am going to stand on my firm conviction that I am not that person anymore, that I now have knowledge that I didn't have, and I am going to find a way to succeed. That's what you need to do. You need to defy your past and say, I don't care if I failed before, because I now know what I need to know to succeed. Okay. The need for emergency response protocols. Okay. Life is consistently ambushing us with unforeseen adversity. Okay? Many autistics have been convinced that in such situations in which there is no second or third party to intervene on their behalf, they have no choice but to flee. Okay? However, I have had success on numerous occasions in which I was able to persevere through the adversity because of my very basic stress management techniques. I also witnessed a classmate implement such protocols to protect himself from physical harm when he felt a seizure coming on. This was my sophomore year of high school. There was this classmate. Knowing what I know now, he was undoubtedly a autistic whose IQ was probably significantly less than mine. I'll just leave it at that. But one day we're in health class, so basically we're all in our chairs. The teacher's desk is back there, the whiteboard is there, teacher's desk, the door to the room. And so we're all doing an assignment out of the book, and then all of a sudden we're hearing this commotion in the back of the class, and the teacher all of a sudden asks, "Where are you going?" And then this friend is straining and to get to his feet and says, "I need to go to the nurse." The teacher says, "Why?" "Because I'm about to have a seizure." Okay? And so the teacher immediately got up and said, "Okay, your mom has let us know about these issues, and we're all trained to handle it." And so he did all the things he needed to do, and till the seizure ran its course. But stopping and looking at what happened in this situation, he felt the onset of the seizure. and he had the emergency protocol, and a seizure, basically the brain is going haywire. And so his brain was in the early stages of going haywire, and yet he had the ability to recognize it and implement this protocol. Now, his understanding was to go to the nurse. He didn't realize that all the teachers were aware of this need and were trained to handle it, but he implemented a protocol. Okay? Back when I was a kid, my mom tells this story. Of course, I don't remember it. Being a little infant, and not only could my brother recognize my older brother, there were times that I would come and pull on her dress. Back then, women wore dresses. Proper women wore dresses, and so and I would go and she would know that was my way of telling her that I was about to have a seizure. Okay, and so it is quite possible to do this. And when I was bringing up this information last month or last year, talking about getting autistic's jobs, my mom brought up the fact that I saved her life by doing the Heimlich on her, and it never dawned on me that I saved her life because of the fact that I was so confident in the Heimlich protocol that it never dawned on me that she was in any danger. I just, I observed her choking. She couldn't make any sounds. No sound was coming out of her mouth. So I just got up, I behind her, stood her up, and it was over. Simple as that. I felt no stress whatsoever because I was so supremely confident that the Heimlich would work that it never dawned on me that she was in any danger. Okay, so these protocols can be taught, and so this is one of the things that that we need to do is learn protocols to handle these situations. Okay, and so okay, sensory processing. Because I still have quite a few slides. So okay, we're going to have to do a part 1.2 next month because we have a lot of really good dialogue, which is exactly what I'm shooting for is good dialogue, and so I will go ahead and pick up from here starting next month. So unless anybody has any closing questions or comments that they want to make.
My only comment is about these emergency protocols. You're not talking about like physical danger situations. You're talking about emotional.
No, stress.
Yeah.
Physical danger. But as far as just feeling the onset of stress because of things just not working. Getting into sensory processing. You get on the city bus and you have some loud, obnoxious drunk. That is just irritating you. Okay. A lot of autistics believe they have no choice but to get off the bus because it just overloads their brain. Okay. What are alternatives? There are alternatives, and
Throw him off the bus.
Yeah, good luck with that. I've been taking the bus for a couple months now.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
How about motion sickness? Is that also related?
Yeah, motion sickness. I'm obviously not a professional doctor, but I would believe that that's physiological. You need to bring your wife here next month.
With the ears.
Yeah. So,
At all?
well, what's that?
Is that related?
It could be. It's.
Big part of the brain.
Because it's. I don't know that's not an issue anybody's ever brought up before. Bring your wife next month. She's a nurse, so anyways.
Motion sickness has to do with inner ear.
Yeah. Inner ear, but it could be affecting the brain.
Yeah.
The lobes.
Honestly, nobody's ever brought up that question before, so I really don't know how to answer that. So that's anyways. So that's based on what little I do know. That's my impression that it's physiological rather than neurological.
You might want to read that.
So anyway.
Okay, it's acceptable. Good.
So anyways, so any last questions or comments? So the presentation turned out completely different than I originally planned. basically, instead of being a amendment to Part 1, it wound up being a reboot of Part 1, in which I spent less time talking about the foundational stuff prior to the section on executive functioning, which allowed me to spend more time on executive functioning as well as the solutions. And that's part of the well, that's the biggest problem I had with my previous part, is that I ended still on the problems, and when people had to leave a half hour before I was finished, I had left them with the problem without telling them what the solution was. So so all in all, between the two, if you're only going to watch one of the two, I would definitely prefer that you watch this one. However, the original Part 1, we definitely went into much greater lengths, discussing a lot of very important issues as well. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and post this, as is for right now, and then a little bit later, maybe in a week or two, I'm going to splice the first part of the original to the first half of the original to the last half of the of this part, in order to have one full-length video which goes into the in-depth discussion on all the issues all the way straight through. But that'll probably be in a week or two. So for now, I'm just going to to put this one online for your educational purposes. And I also want to add something that I forgot to bring up, as far as talking about executive functioning versus and how we compensate for it by having better memories. Okay, and specifically, how I've seen this work in my life is neurotypicals try to figure out how to invent the wheel. I, on the other hand, have observed the wheel being invented by several different people, and I can give a complete analysis of all the different wheels that I've seen invented, what worked, what different, and what worked, what didn't, and then come up with a hybrid solution that's perfect for that situation. Okay, so that's how I problem solve, leading with my memory, with a little bit of help from executive functioning, because you got to have some. It's not, if you have absolutely zero executive functioning, you couldn't function. Okay, so yes, we have some, but an autistic is going to lead with their memory and find solutions. At least that's the way it works for me. Is I find solutions, drawing more off of my memories of how I've seen other people solve the problems, rather than actually being able to solve it on my own. And so when I come across a situation which I have no experience in, I am completely lost as far as how do I even start figuring out how to solve this problem. And so so I just thought that was a really important distinction that I wanted to make, as far as how I solve problems versus how others solve them. And even though I misspoke a couple of minutes ago, or a minute ago, anyways, as far as all autistics, I can't say that all autistics, work in this manner, but I definitely know that this is how I work, and I have no doubt that there are other autistics who would also work in this manner as well. And so I just wanted to throw that out, in addition to the information already shared on this video. Thanks.